So this guy scams churchgoers out of millions of dollars in order to fund his wife's pop star career. The guy's name is Ephraim. Ephraim is about 16 years old when the story starts. He's living in Kansas, and Ephraim is a very smart kid. When he was 12, he programmed his own video games and sold about 30 copies to his friends. He also started designing websites for people, and he got paid for that too. But what he really wants is to become famous and make millions of dollars. In 1998, while he's still in high school, Ephraim and his friend came up with this idea that they are going to create a job posting website where high school students can find part-time jobs. And so they get to work and they build this website. They called it Go Ferret Go. And it worked. The site started getting a lot of visitors. But very soon they run into a problem. The site started having lesser visitors, and this really troubled him. The site closed in 2001. He was devastated. But in that same 2001, he was around 19 years old. He came up with another plan that what if he lies to people that his site was a huge success? So he started telling people that his site made millions of dollars, that he is a teenage millionaire, when in fact he is not. He doesn't stop there. He started writing books about his success, that he has made huge success. And before long, he started appearing on big media outlets like CNN, Forbes, CNBC, and he also went on Montel Williams' show. And all this good publicity makes Ephraim so popular. But popularity isn't Ephraim's only goal. Remember, he's trying to get super rich. So he started thinking about ways to monetize his popularity. Then he realized that people already believe that he is a financial success, and therefore they can trust him with their money. And Ephraim knows the perfect place to go and the perfect people to talk to. He went to the church. And here is one thing about Ephraim. Ephraim is the son of a preacher. Therefore, he's already popular in the church. Everyone knows him. So he thought to himself to convince the church that he's a financial advisor with a special investment program to help make them lots of money. And then, once they are on board, he will scam them. So in 2009, Ephraim gets to work on this plan. So Ephraim reaches out to Pastor Eddie. He's a pastor of a big church in Atlanta. So Ephraim pitches his whole investment idea to him. And he promises to show him and his congregation the best investment idea that will make them rich. And Pastor Eddie hears this and he was so happy about it. So one Sunday morning, Pastor Eddie allows Ephraim to come up and deliver a speech to his mega congregation about how to build wealth the biblical way. So he's telling the whole congregation that all they have to do is to invest their money with him. And he promises to invest their money in good businesses like real estate, laundromats, gas stations, and not into sinful businesses like strip club. And that 20% of the profit will go to charity. So investing your life savings with Ephraim is basically like feeding the poor. So the congregation hears this and they believe him and they give him their money. Once Ephraim sees how easy it is to fool these people, he knows he can't stop with this church. He has to find other churches to scam. So he goes to another church, to another church, to another church, hyping people and convincing them to give him their money. So over time, people were giving him their retirement money, their whole life investments, but he did not stop. At a point, he got into sweepstakes machine. This machine is loaded with games where someone can come and play and earn some money. Sometimes you see them in gas stations. So he goes to different congregations and tells them that he is into sweepstakes machine business now. They should invest their money, and he's promising them that he can get them return of their investment of up to 300%. And once again, people believe him and they give him their money. In reality, none of this is true. Ephraim is basically running a Ponzi scheme. The best part of this Ponzi scheme is what he's really spending his money on. He got himself a nice New York City apartment. He pays to promote his own books, but along with that, he's using a lot of that money to fund his wife's pop music career. His wife is trying to be a pop singer. By this time, Ephraim has scammed over 400 churchgoers across 42 states out of $16 million. You already know the problem of Ponzi schemes. They always collapse. And around 2010, that's exactly what happens in this case. At some point, the money simply runs out and there is no more money to pay old investors. So the investors get pissed off and Ephraim started freaking out and he decides it's time to run. So him and his pop star wife disappears and moves to a suburb in Kansas. And there, Ephraim grows out his hair and braids it. Him and his wife assumes new identity and they started working in a massage shop. And they actually managed to stay hidden until in 2012 when ABC News releases a news segment talking about Ephraim and the massive fraud that he has done. And the landlord of the massage shop where Ephraim and his wife works managed to see one of these news segments. And she contacts reporters at ABC News and tells them that she knows that guy. Later, a bunch of government agencies finally step in and they charge Ephraim with fraud. He eventually goes and he turns himself in. And so they arrest him. And ultimately, he takes a plea deal and he gets sentenced to 19 years and 7 months in prison. Why his wife wasn't actually charged with anything? Because I guess she was not part of the fraud. She was just enjoying the money.